the biggest thing is getting boots on the ground. You got to get out and find the rubs and the scrapes and the hot food trees and find where they're browsing.
It's kind of like a puzzle. You got to put that together to figure out what you're going to be able to harvest. And, to me, that's the fun part.
Sure. Okay, I've dissected this. I've looked at the map. I've looked at my sign. I've checked out the wind. And I've put this work into it, whether you shoot the animal or not or harvest the animal, having that encounter with it and like, man, what I did worked. And that's awesome.
The award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. I'm excited about today's show. Thanks for tuning in. Mr. Barry Cross is helping me co-host today. Don's on special assignment, so I brought in Barry to help out. He's our Region 2 coordinator, communications coordinator, so appreciate you jumping in here, Barry.
I'm glad to be here, man. This is a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, today's all about fall hunting, deer hunting. Getting closer to the muzzleloader season. We're still in the archery right now, but we're going to talk about tips and tricks, and we have Adrian Wilson with us today. He's with Tethered, and he's been with us before on WildCast, but we appreciate you being here.
Guys, it's always a pleasure. Enjoy it, and we're talking hunting. What can be better?
Yeah.
That's right.
It's always fun. This is a great time of year. Love the fall. You got football. Man, you got Tennessee beating Alabama. That's great.
That was a game.
That was a game. You got deer hunting. Fishing's still hot. You can still fish this time of year. It's a great time to be outside. Real quick, let's touch on a radio station. We appreciate our radio partners. And we're going to be up around Morristown for a few shows here coming up in the future. So I thought we'd highlight the Morristown station today. WJDT. They air WildCast at 5 a.m. on Saturday mornings. We appreciate our radio partners and especially WJDT in Morristown. So we got 23 stations across the state, east to west, and they keep us rolling. We appreciate them sharing our information and allowing hunting and fishing and outdoor stuff to be on the radio.
That's a good thing for a sportsman. If you get to go out and you're headed out to hunt, go and fish, and you're able to turn on a show and listen to hunting and fishing, it's just great.
Yeah, it's awesome. One other thing, catch this show on your favorite podcasting app, on our social media channels. So go out there and listen, subscribe. Also, the e-store. The hat I'm wearing today is in the e-store. We got new WildCast hats available, so you can pick those up if you're a fan of the show. Shop.gooutdoorstennessee.com to get a hat. And the next thing on the list, Barry.
Yeah.
Events. You just had a Hunting 101 event here recently.
Hunting 101 event. This event was designed to reach out to people that want to learn about hunting and fishing. It might be that they've never done it. It might be that they're interested and they've kind of been in it. And we even had one person that came that probably knew quite a bit about hunting, but he just wanted to see more. And so it was a little bit about woodsmanship. We had tree stand safety. We had shooting safety, technique. We did some blood trailing. So it gave them a good idea of, where to start when I walk into the woods. The hope is that it just flattens that curve, that learning curve, so that when you step on a piece of property, you kind of have in your mind what I'm going to be looking for. So, it was pretty good. We're hoping that we're going to have more of these, and that more people can come out and be a part of it. I can't say enough about our officers in Murray County and Lawrence County, and of course Don Crawford over here. So Bethany Watson, Ethan Brown, Tanner Romsdale, man, y'all made that happen, and I appreciate it.
Awesome. I was going to ask who helped out. You hit the list there. That's good.
And but that class, it I think it has room to grow, and it was the first one that we had held, so we got to see what worked and what didn't work, and what we might scale back and what we might increase next time. So
and maybe find some avenues to spread it across the state.
Exactly.
I know there was some people asking questions on social media. When can we? Exactly. Is there going to be one in Montgomery County or different counties across the state?
I heard that from there in Wayne County, and so I hope to expand this next year and get get this, more weekends, and maybe even change the time a little bit, give people a little more time in the morning to get there versus having it start at 8 o'clock in the morning. So maybe a noon to 5 class would be better. So I look forward to doing more of those. But
Awesome.
Outside of that, I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on in Middle Tennessee right now. I mean, we got quota hunts are coming up. We're about to have a senior fishing events. Fishing's not over.
You were out catching some fish in the rain the other day. I saw.
Yeah, I mean, if you have an opportunity to get out on any body of water right now, you can catch fish. And I'm not a big, trophy fisherman by any stretch of the imagination. Of course, I'll take a trophy if I were to catch one. But I just like fishing and catching. And so right now is a great time to be out. And of course, we got, the youth hunt is coming up on 28th or 29th, 30th of October. We've got
this weekend.
Giles County, Coffee County, Lincoln County all have hunts. So, I mean, there's opportunity for people to get out there, and especially for the youth, to get out there and have a good time. So
awesome.
And I'm excited about having Adrian here so we can talk about hunting, because this is a great time to be in the woods too. I mean, it's just a great time to be in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Go Vols.
Man, Barry's excited this morning. Adrian, thank you for being with us. You're with Tethered. You are a sales coordinator, social media stuff. I see you out there on our YouTube page doing some stuff. Tell us what you've been up to here lately.
Man, so Tethered moved to Columbia, Tennessee here.
Oh, that's right. Tennessee company now, right here in Tennessee.
About 4 months ago. So from me working from the house, now I'm down at the shop daily, and a little bit more is required. And but it's rolling. It's going well. I enjoy the aspect of, as he said, we're talking hunting.
Yeah.
It's constantly. I'm the type of person I am. I'm always wanting to learn more knowledge, right? Just if it can help me, whether it's good knowledge or bad knowledge, I can decipher that for myself. But it's about learning, and his hunting 101 class. That's awesome. Getting those people out there and learning woodsmanship, or like you said, there's a guy that was already out there that probably knew a lot, but you can still pick up something, even if it's one thing. That's super valuable. That's a great tool. So other than being in the woods and actually hunting, right here with you guys. It's perfect.
I get excited talking about it, and I don't always get out there. I'm going to make a point to get out there more this year and chase some deer and have a good time. And so I wanted to kind of touch in on, or since you've been here, have you killed any deer last year? Did you have a good season? Turkey season go good this year?
Last deer season was great for me. Turkey season was really good. Last few years, I kind of cut my teeth on hunting in the turkey woods, right? That's where it just came all over me, and I was like, I'm in this forever. So, but the last couple of years, I'd actually taken a lot of people out, and I didn't actually hunt as much myself. And I found I really enjoyed that. And then this year, I was able to get out more myself, and I ended up tagging out. First time I'd done that in a couple of years, with some awesome experiences, awesome hunts, and you get to be around your buddies some, or you meet new people out there, and I just enjoy doing that. So it was successful. And as far as this deer season goes, haven't killed anything, haven't drawn back on anything. I've got some really good ones on some cameras, but I don't know if I'm getting older and wiser or lazier. I haven't gone as much because I'm more cautious on the wind and my entry and exit points, and I know kind of where I think they're bedding, and I haven't been able to get out there as much as I'd like to based on the wind situation. And then, they've changed and I think we're going to talk about this a little bit, but their summer patterns have changed to these fall and winter patterns, and it's just been tough, but I've got some good ones on camera. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Maybe next time I'm in here, I can show you some pictures. Hopefully.
Well, it's not like you said. We'll jump right in. It's kind of some tips for this type of this season. You got the juvenile hunt this weekend, but archery's been going strong. You'll have archery again, following that weekend. But
Yeah,
Talk a little bit about what you're saying. You know, you're checking your wind, you're watching your cameras, you're trying to be more cautious. I don't think you're being lazy. You're just being smarter about it. You don't always just have to hit the woods hard. There's also a little bit of studying going on.
And that's I was obviously joking about the lazy thing because I want to be out there as much as possible.
But talk about that October lull you mentioned.
There's not an October lull. These things are moving.
They're still there, aren't they?
They're still there. They've maybe traveled a little bit, but a lot of guys, I hear them talk about this October lull, or they're not on camera anymore. They've moved off. Some might have. Sure, some of these bucks are going to get out and move.
They got a big home range.
But the biggest thing is getting boots on the ground. You've got to get out and move. You can't. Sure, you can hunt the same tree every single hunt, but your percentages are going to be super low. You might get lucky and shoot a big booner. That's fine. But again, percentages, if you play the percentages, it's not going to be very high. You got to get out and find the rubs and the scrapes and the hot food trees and find where they're browsing and find, it's not always about setting up on a trail and that's not your sign, Mm-hmm. Yeah, those trails have probably been there for years. I've found some beat down trails that, if you're buck hunting right now, you don't want to just sit on a trail that does are going on, Right. You want to get out. For me, I don't consider myself a big buck hunter, but that excites me. That's in my mind. That's what I'm kind of after. But I'll shoot does and
that's
whatnot.
the home run, isn't it?
Right. Bottom line, I want mature deer.
Yeah.
I don't sit there. I don't sit there if I shoot a good deer. I don't ever score my deer. I just don't care about that. For me, it's more about my passion for being out there in nature and getting the adrenaline rush and putting that plan together that works out. And if that deer makes my heart do this, I'm going to shoot it. Within legal means, right?
You're connecting with nature, and
right.
It's a different feeling. It's not about the score.
So if I'm buck hunting, I'm looking for buck sign, and you might have a few hunts where you don't see anything, but if that buck sign is there, that's what I'm after. For me, it's not about just seeing deer. Obviously, that makes you feel good. Oh, there's a doe, or there's this or that. But I think you got to. Well, I feel like you have to move around. You have to find the sign, and you got to be mobile.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I always tell people. It's kind of like a puzzle. You got to put that together to figure out what you're going to be able to harvest. And to me, that's the fun part.
Sure.
Because if I can read the woods and I can put myself in position, I've already won.
Yep.
Whether I harvest anything or not. But the cool part is being able to see that animal, and that's what people really need to learn. And it's not just one thing. It's
put a plan
multiple.
together,
yeah.
and to see and to test your own skill and knowledge. As a person, who doesn't feel good about that?
Yeah.
That okay, I've dissected this. I've looked at the map. I've looked at my sign. I've checked out the wind, and I've put this work into it. It's not like I enjoy doing that work. It's not really work to me. It's something that I enjoy doing. And then, like you said, whether you shoot the animal or not, or harvest the animal, having that encounter with it, and like, man, what I did worked. And so it's always about testing your skills and knowledge, and that's awesome.
And to me, you mentioned you taking people hunting. I got kids. I put my daughters in a position to where that deer showed up.
Right.
Whether they shot it or not. It was there, and I'm like, there it is,
Oh, yeah.
And it made my day,
Yeah.
and of course they thought I was the king because I just said, yeah, this deer is going to show up, and he did. But being able to take all that knowledge, put it together, is part of what we want people to understand.
Yep.
And what would you say your top 5 tips for if you're going into the woods? What are the top 5 things that you need to focus on?
So a lot of the land I'm hunting, because I do travel a little bit with tethered or whatnot, I'm hunting new properties. I've never been on new WMAs. So first thing I want,
public land, right?
Yeah. I'm like 90-something% public land. Not opposed to private. I'd take some private if anybody wants to throw some out there.
The phone number is.
But yeah, so first thing I'm doing, I'm looking at we'll say it's a WMA. Mm-hmm. I'm pulling up one of my maps. I'm looking for certain fingers and points and saddles and maybe hard lines from one transition to another. And those are things that have been good to me, so that's what I tend to look for. So I'll mark those on my map, and then if I have, let's say I have 3 or 4 days to go out and hunt, the first day I'm going to spend scouting. Like I'll call it speed scouting, and I'm just trying to move through there and check out these points. I'll do that, and I'm just constantly looking for sign. I'm marking if I find a scrape or maybe a rub, whether it's old or new. I'm going to mark it, because if I come back here, I'm like, okay, during this rut area, this is an old sign that maybe has something in here, right? Or a lot of those places, a new buck will move in. I mean, usually they tend to gravitate towards some of the same places. So I'm just marking everything and taking notes and having a little data. And then so that first day, I go back and look. I'll also do this. I don't know, especially public land. I'll mark where other hunters are. That way I kind of use that maybe to my advantage, or see where they're parked, and then go.
Good and bad, right?
Yes, yes.
Because they're there for a reason usually.
Right. I mean, and we were talking about this earlier a little bit. I generally, if I'm hunting public land, if other hunters are in there, I'll know where they're parked, and generally they take the same path, right?
Yeah.
So I'll go.
There's the gate.
Creatures
We're going
of
this
habit.
way. Yeah.
I'll go and park off the side of the road where I can, and maybe go up, kind of think where they might be going. And hopefully when they're going in, they might push deer to me, right? Or based on what their wind situation is. So you asked for 5. I don't know if I've given you 5.
Well,
I'm just
mentioned
yapping.
wind. You just mentioned wind. I mean,
That's a big factor.
How big is that for you? I mean, walking in, set up, everything.
I think, and let me add to that. I think the entry and exit routes are huge for me. Like I got some good deer right now that I'm looking at on camera that I don't feel comfortable going in based on what I'm seeing on some of these cameras, where they're at and where their bedding is and the wind direction. So I'm staying out of there, and it's hard because I want I want a piece of them, right?
Yeah.
I want that encounter, and I haven't had a face-to-face with these deer at all. So I haven't hunted as much this year because I've been more selective, and I've not been that guy that has one buck and I'll hunt him every day.
Right.
I've never been that guy, but I've got a few right now. I've never had this. This is new to me. So I'm trying to, in my head, I'm playing it smart. I'm like, okay, I know I can't go in there in the mornings for sure. But I can go in there midday and kind of creep in. And I've had some of those sits, and I've had some really good encounters with a lot of deer, but just not the deer I'm after. So yeah, I'm not a big scent control guy. I'll wash my clothes in a scent-free detergent and things like that. Yes, but I'm playing the wind. I'm trying to if I have to take the long walk around to get to where I need to be, because that puts me in a better situation with my wind, I'm going to do that.
Yep.
That's important, because these deer, if they smell you, the mature deer, in my experience, are not going to come around.
That's right.
They're not going to. So I have to take what I know and my knowledge because at the end of the day, I don't want to waste my time. I wanted to go in there because I'm looking to kill that animal.
You want to give yourself the best chance.
There you go.
Yeah. So what about somebody hunting a smaller piece of property? Say they got 10, 15 acres, and there's only really a couple of ways in. Do you tell that guy or gal just to go for it, get in there, whether the wind's bad or not? What do you do? You only got so much property, so much area to hunt.
I've been there. That's tough. That's kind of one of the properties I'm on now. I'm talking about a private land, and it's limited on. If I could cross property lines, I'd be pretty good, but I can't. Right. And so that's another reason I stayed out of there.
Yeah. Okay.
So if
keep playing the wind.
If it's for me, if it's like what I would consider a really large deer, I'm staying out of there. If you're just going in there to get some meat and shoot some does, I think you can take some more chances.
You go and then hope for that big guy to come through.
Yeah, I think you can do that, but I would advise against it most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
It's a situational thing.
It's tough for some of those weekend hunters that only have a few
Well,
hours.
find the wind that's going to work, or the stand location that's going to work best. Sometimes you got to go with what's going to work. best, and I'm of the mindset, little wind is more dangerous than a lot of wind sometimes, because I feel like a lot of wind kind of blows my scent out of there pretty quick.
Sure.
Whereas if it's just a light variable wind, it's just like that scent just drops to the ground, and you're like, oh my god.
And that's one of the things I really pay attention to is my thermals, especially in the evening. I've set up where a wind might be coming out of the south, but my thermals are going somewhere else. So that's something I've really gotten better at in the last few years, because I've had situations where my wind has been perfect, and then these deer start blowing at me. I'm like, what in the world? And then I've taken some milkweed, and I'm like, thermals.
Yeah, right there to them.
Yeah. So
and you bring up a good point. I mean, wind, that wind was when I first understood what I was doing wrong. I mean, when people started talking to me about wind, I was like, what? I spray down, I wash my clothes, and I still do that. I'm kind of like that ball player that's superstitious, wear the same socks every game. But I wash my clothes, I do all that, but I do believe you can't totally beat a deer's nose.
No.
I mean, their nose is like 2,000 times better than ours. They can smell all kinds of stuff. And so I feel like playing that wind and understanding what that wind's doing for you, it's really when you're going to start seeing deer and being able to watch multiple deer. Before, when I was hunting, by the time I saw one, he was going to smell me. And I either shoot him or I don't. Now I can watch a deer walk through the woods, and I get to see how they act.
And there's always going to be the debates on the hunt the wind versus the scent control.
I know.
I think if you combine both of them, I think you do up your odds. An old guy told me this, if you have scent control, it kind of reduces your scent cone. It's still going to be there, but I don't know. I mean, I know that I've seen studies with dogs and all this stuff, but I think you got to do what makes you feel good mentally, right? But if it's going to reduce my scent even a little bit, I'm going to do it, or maybe tone the scent down. It's it's not like a gasoline smell just throwing out there.
See, that's my thought behind washing my clothes and taking the bath and all that is that deer might smell me, but he thinks I'm 100 yards that way rather than 25 yards, So I'm not against doing any of that, and I do it. I do it because it makes me feel good, but I also feel like maybe they don't think I'm as close as I am. And so, but
good point. Good point.
Well, before we run out of time, what about ignoring the sign and grunting and rattling this time of year? Touch on those for just a minute.
Well, he was just talking about some rattling. I like rattling personally. I've actually killed a few bucks with the rattle. My largest one to date was a rattle.
Is this the right time of year to do it?
Yeah. Well, I
Does
think
it matter?
I think so. For me, I've noticed here in the last 3 weeks, I've seen bucks sparring, and I think. Again, and I'm saying sparring. I don't think they're going at it and fighting. So I think tickling light this time of year to get their attention or to pique their interest where they might want to come in and get a look-see. But he mentioned a while ago, the mature bucks, they're going to move downwind to see what they smell, right?
Right.
So position yourself to maybe take that out of the equation or sit up in a situation where you feel like they are going to come downwind. You have a shot when they do that. And I like rattling. I think now as the season goes on and they start to really fight, you can bang those things together a little bit. And I think you spread it out, whether it's every 15 or 30 minutes, somewhere in there. I think you can overdo it, and guys just beat these horns together and or bags or whatever they're using. But I'm a fan. I've seen the results. I plan hopefully this evening. We've got some nice cool weather here in Middle Tennessee that I can pique some interest this afternoon, and we'll see.
Yeah. And just a heads up, this show was recorded before the weekend, so
yes,
we're not hunting on juvenile.
I'm not doing a juvenile.
But and do you ignore the sign, or you make sure you pay attention to that sign, right?
What sign are we talking about specifically?
Any rub, scrape, trails.
I think you have to.
You have to, yeah.
I think you have to, or at least, like I said, whether it's old or new. If I'm hunting that new property and I'm doing my speed scouting, I'm marking everything. But if I find really fresh sign that I feel like I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to hunt this right now. Like this feed tree is dropping like crazy, and there's all this buck poo. Like I think you got to sit on that.
Yeah, don't ignore something just because you've identified something over there. If you find something better, it's time.
Everything's situational, though, right? You know, you know, if I have a hard line of saying, okay, I'm just speed scouting today, and I'm going to take all the notes, but if I come across something that's so good, does that mean I'm going to capitalize on it? No, but I'm upping my chances.
Right.
So yeah.
Well. So after this weekend, after the juvenile hunt, you've got one more week of archery. Are you doing anything different as you move into to muzzleloader?
So I think I'll typically, I have a muzzleloader and I have a rifle, and I may use both of them. I like my bow so much, I'll probably use that for a while, unless I just get super frustrated and the big one just keeps hanging up out of range. But what I'm going to do, these bucks are starting to get right. I think they're going to be moving more in daylight and checking for these does and chasing a little bit. So I'm going to be pretty active, I think, in the woods now, because I think with their ranges are developing wider spread and looking for does. So I think we're going to see a lot more activity here. So I'm going to make sure. One thing is I'm going to hunt the does. I'm not going after the buck sign anymore because the bucks are on the move. I'm going to go to I that's another thing I do. I mark or have a mental note of where I know the does are consistently at, where I've seen them a lot. And I'm like, I'll just go sit up over.
Just wait on it.
And wait on them.
Yeah. I mean, because right now the bucks are shifting from food to love. You know, they're wanting to find the does. Does are still eating. You know, and so your acorn tree that starts dropping, that's still a good spot to be in.
And you nailed it there too. But these bucks, they know what's fixing to come, and they're gonna wear themselves out. So they're wanting to eat right now to get their bodies to where they can go through that tough rut season.
Right.
So right now, I think especially you gotta, if you can find the hot food sources. And I know there's a lot of acorns in the woods, but there's always that the tree, and that's like finding a diamond in the rough sometimes. But I'm looking for the tree.
Yeah. And don't ignore the sign.
Don't ignore that sign.
Yeah. So,
well, I had it to throw up on the screen, Todd. We got just a few seconds here. I'll throw it up. If you're watching, the deer season is here. Young Sportsman this weekend, 29th through the 30th. And then you got one more week of archery before muzzleloader. If you're in Unit CWD, you get to start hunting with a gun or muzzleloader a little early. So October 31st is when that kicks off. Check your guide, tnwildlife.org. Visit the website to find this information. Always make sure you got the right licenses. GoOutdoorsTennessee.com to get that. Adrian, appreciate you being here.
Oh man, I enjoyed it. We should do this every day.
Well, let's set it up and do it again. We may even come down to your facility and shoot something out there at your new shop.
Y'all come down to Tethered, and that'd be awesome.
How do you find Tethered on social or?
TetheredNation.com is our website. We have Instagram and Facebook. So come and check us out. We've got the Tagged Out tour going on now too with some young guys. That's pretty. You can find them. We can find Tagged Out on YouTube and the Tethered Nation on YouTube. So
awesome.
Good deal.
If you haven't tried saddle hunting, give it a shot. Check it out. I think I'm going to try it this year. I said I was going to try it last year. I'm going to try it this year.
A lot of fun.
Hopefully.
A lot of fun.
So anyway, appreciate everybody tuning in. This is Tennessee WildCast, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.